is my podcast failing? Curiosity allows us to dive deeper into the problem rather than just judging it based on surface level appearances. And when we're curious, we're like 3-year-old kids again, asking why, and why. First of all, the R stands for resilience, the O stands for ownership, and the C stands for curiosity, and the K for kindness. High expectations with low level of kindness is not sustainable. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Hi, and welcome to the 11th episode of Champion's Journey. It's been a while since my last episode, and to be honest, I feel quite bad about it. The question that has been rolling in my head through the last weeks has been, is my podcast failing? In so many ways, I feel that I failed, or at least failed to stay consistent. And this lack of consistency has bothered me quite a bit. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about my journey from experiencing this emotions and inner talk of failure, getting back on the horse. It is so easy for us to fall into the trap of negative talk that I can't do this, this is too hard, I don't have what it takes, etc. And the mistake that I do, and I think that a lot of agility handlers do as well, is that they look at the results that they're getting and then they draw a conclusion that they don't have what it takes in terms of getting the results that they want. So, based on what you're currently producing of results, whether that will be on the field or that be somewhere else in your life, we think that it tells us a lot about our potential. In reality, it tells us about our actions there and then, not about what we're potentially able to do, but what we did. And eventually we start to believe it. And what happens as a result of that belief is that we limit our potential. We limit the amount of action that we take, and then we reinforce the results that we don't want. This is why it's so important to stay curious. Curiosity allows us to dive deeper into the problem rather than just judging it based on surface level appearances. And when we're curious, we're like 3-year-old kids again, asking and why. And that spiked the question for me: how do I treat myself when things don't go as planned? And you should ask yourself the same question: how do you treat yourself when things don't go as you planned? And I need to be honest with you that when things don't go as planned, or, or I'm not able to keep up with a commitment that set to myself or others, it creates a strong negative inner dialogue. Though I unconsciously do my best in order to tune it out, I know it's still there. And after a while, it comes up and it continues to come up. And you actually have to deal with it. For me, through this process, I actually came to a point where I said to myself that it was no longer acceptable to have such an inner dialogue because of A, it wasn't constructive. I didn't learn much from it. And number two, it wasn't productive. It wasn't giving me the output that it should have in terms of prompting me to go out and make changes and create a new episode. And C, it wasn't nice. I would never accepted someone else telling those type of words directly to me or allow someone else to say those words to someone else. Luckily, I have the privilege to hold weekly sessions in the agility mindset community. And we're working now through a program called the Champion's Image. And during this period, I was thinking about how could we create a tool, a concept that can help agility handlers to tap into the proper mindset when things don't go as planned. Little did I know that I would actually benefit from the same tool. So while I was thinking about it, I knew that I need to play around with different words. Resilience is one of them. And I've also learned that ownership is important. You have to take ownership of the results that you get. And then I added curiosity, as we just talked about, looking into the why. Why did that happen and not this? But based on my inner dialogue, I knew that I had to add another component, which was kindness. So, based on my experience and based on trying to build this tool, I saw a new framework. I saw that if I just rearranged these words, I would actually come to an acronym. It would form the word rock, and the concept of be a rock came to life. So, what does it mean to be a rock, and how can you use that in an agility setting? Well, first of all, the R stands for resilience, the O stands for ownership, and the C stands for curiosity, and the K for kindness. With each and every one of those traits, I also attached an identity message, something that I could say to myself as a new self talk that will help me to get into the proper mindset, get into a different state of mind, and hopefully learn the most that I could from the situation to harness the experience and then be in a better position to act. So for resilience, it became I bounce back. My results not define me and what I'm able to accomplish. For ownership, it became I take full responsibility for my results. If I don't like them, I can change them. For curiosity, it became I open to learning. Every experience is a learning experience. And that counts if it's a good outcome or a wanted outcome or what we would label as a bad outcome or failure. And then for kindness, it became I'm doing my very best with the knowledge, experience, time, and energy that I have. Now, if you were to ask me now who I want to be, I would answer you, I want to be rocking. I want to be that type of person who, despite setbacks, get back on their feet with a smile on their face, who takes responsibility and uses failure as a learning experience to get better. Now, I don't associate this necessarily with positive thinking. Positive thinking to me, and the way that it's been termed throughout personal development industry, is often that you take something bad and you just wrap it in nicer gift paper. Now, this framework is all about jumping into the things that you're trying to wrap in some nice gift paper and trying to find something in it that is valuable. So it's almost like picking up dog shit, expecting to find a diamond. That's probably a way to say it. But that is also the framework or the process of my experience as well. I try to ignore the inner negative self talk. That didn't work. And I knew it wouldn't work. But then when I dived into it, it wasn't very constructive. But it also made me realize that I wasn't treating myself with kindness, which became a lesson. And it developed into a new tool, a new framework. And hopefully, this framework is something that not only I can use, not only people in the agility mindset community can use, but also you can use. It could be a framework that you could implement and practice in agility, but it could also be taken from agility to be used as a parent, guiding and coaching your child towards learning something new in school, a new subject, or studying for an exam or a test. It could be you guiding and teaching a colleague through a new learning experience, trying to learn a new tool, new software, whatever. Or it could simply be you coaching and guiding another agility handler. One of the challenges that we face today is that sometimes we set the bar too high for ourselves. We set standards that are way beyond what we can perform at this moment. And I'm not asking people to lower their standards. High standards have its pros and it has its cons. But if you are setting high standards for yourself, you need to ensure that you also have a high degree of kindness towards your dog and also towards yourself. High expectations with low level of kindness is not sustainable. That will damage the relationship with your dog, it will damage the relationship with yourself, and it will not give you the outcomes that you want. So, this whole experience, this failure experience, actually gave me the lesson that I needed. And I now have, as I mentioned, something to work on and something to improve personally. In addition, I have a framework, a new set of tools that I can share with others, that I hope that others will use, that they can benefit from in life and in agility. And it's just like one of my favorite quotes from the investor Ray Dalio. He says that pain plus reflection equals progress. And what I need to do now is that I basically need to look at my situation, make the changes that I need in order to take more action towards what I want to accomplish. And one of those parts is to have this podcast delivering consistently on a weekly basis a new episode, whether that is a mix of me talking alone and interviewing a guest or whatever it might be. But what I need to do right now is that I need to take action. I need to get back on the horse. I will do my very best with the time and energy that I have to deliver consistently weekly episodes with a mix of solo episodes like this one, but also, and most importantly, interviewing guests about their journey. The purpose of this podcast was to give you guys a tool that would help you to build a growth mindset so that you could accomplish the things that you wanted to accomplish. I did not expect that it would also become an arena where I got to challenge myself and also test my ability to be able to take the theory and put it into practice. But I'm very grateful for it because it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't challenging for me as well. So I have learned from my mistakes, hopefully. We'll see. But I'm going to do my very best in order to put in more effort in terms of planning, in terms of improving the workflows, and also reaching out to more people to ensure that we get that consistency. And if we can get to that, really, really good. If I don't reach the bar, the standard, I would have to ensure to treat myself with kindness and get back on the horse. So, if you are interested in learning more about how you can master mental training for agility and would like to join a community of like minded people, I recommend that you go over to dogagilityperformance.com. You can also find it in the show notes. There you can learn more about the community, what it's about, what is in there, and what we're working on. And then you can see if that is fit for you. And the question you should ask yourself is the RAW principle, which stands for am I ready? Am I able? And am I willing? And if you say no to one of those, don't go for it. You're not ready or you're not able and you're not willing to put in the work, then put it on pause. If you are ready and if you are able and if you are willing to put in the work to master mental training for agility, then you should go over there and have a look. My name is Christoffer Endresen. This is the Champion's Journey, and it's good to be back. And the next step for you is to take the rock tool and use it so that you can get to the next level.